letdown was 300 Rise of the Empire. That movie was so fucking disjointed. It made no sense to me whatsoever. I know the story. I've read the freaking thing. I know what it's all going on at the same time that 300 is going on, which makes no sense. Like the way that they've described certain parts of that movie, it's going on while 300 is going on. And if that's the case, how is Xerxes in two places at once?
Yeah.
Like that just screwed the whole thing up for me.
Yeah,
I Frankenstein is my number 2 letdown. I thought that this really could have been a better movie. I think there were aspects of it that were cool, like having the gargoyles be, angels are really gargoyles, like that whole thing. Like they could have done something with it, and it just kind of fell flat big time. And then my biggest letdown of the year, because I'm a huge Transformers nerd, is Age of Extinction. That had to have been like. There were so many bad things happening. The story was okay, but there were so many things in that movie that did not make any sense to me as a fan.
It's hard to do Transformers as a live action movie.
I think so too.
I remember when I watched. I haven't seen the later ones. Yeah. I watched, I think, the first one, and then I think I've seen the second one, but I don't think I liked it enough, so I don't think I stopped paying attention. But I just remember, even in the first one, like when the action scenes.
You can't tell.
You can't tell really what's going on.
Yeah.
Like they're not great. It's not like Superman or something like that, where you can see. Like it just looks like a mess to me.
Yeah,
and I never thought
metal
it was
fighting metal.
Exactly. And I remember thinking like, no, if these giant metal things, like there would be way more. Like, nobody could be that close. They're catching people. It's like, have you ever fallen on a bed of iron?
Right.
You know? Like, I thought it was always a bad...
Okay, but this movie lost me when they made Transformium.
Yeah.
As soon as they came out with this, the word for what the metal that the Transformers are made of is Transformium.
They created a new Transformer.
An Earth-made Transformer.
Yeah.
And it's Transformium, and I was pissed off, and that was the end of it for me. I was done.
Was it the voice of Siri?
Yeah. Well,
I don't understand you.
Attack the Decepticons!
Yeah, and then they,
looking for Dominoes.
And then they're surprised that everything's going bad when it was taken from Megatron, and they knew this. It's like, come on, really?
You
can't be surprised.
You have. Again, I'm a big nerd when it comes to things like this, so no one should be surprised. But I know the story that they're pulling it from, and the bounty hunter robots that were Transformers that were there. They start introducing the storyline from. It's actually part of the storyline from the actual Transformers animated movie. They start introducing this with no information about what the hell they're talking about. So, the Masters want you back. You shouldn't be here. Blah blah blah. I'm like, what the fuck are the Masters? Nobody who doesn't know the story is going to understand what you're talking about.
Wasn't Mark Wahlberg in this one?
Yes.
So at any point in time did he go up to Optimus Prime? Like, oh hey Optimus Prime, yeah, hey, say hello, feet and mother for me.
Yeah. Nobody did say it's a Transformer. I'm going to put you to college with this.
I think we found a Transformer.
It was horrible. Like you said, the action portions of it, there are things in there like they end up were they in Tokyo when they found the Dinobots? They were in Japan when they found the Dinobots, and apparently they've always been there. And they have this scene in there where Optimus Prime has to defeat Grimlock, the leader of the Dinobots, who is a 50-foot tall Tyrannosaurus Rex. That's literally 10 times bigger than Optimus Prime, and he basically jumps on his back and rides him into town. Yeah. I was like, are you effing kidding me?
Yeah, that didn't make any sense at all.
I had issues. I had a number of issues with that whole movie. So
yeah, going back to something you had said, somebody had said, it was like comparing it to the cartoons. No, I think it's easier to do it cartoon form because it's easier to make the distinction of which character is which. Even when you go back to the G1 version of it, it's like you can tell who Ratchet is. You can tell who Bumblebee is when they're in robot form. But when
everything is blocked, like when you transform in Gen 1, they transform. You're still a beetle. You're still a beetle. So like your body is a beetle. You're not just like this big metal construct thing that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So
yeah. So all right. We'll go here. My 5 through 1 Paranormal Activity, the marked ones. Oh, I'm sorry, Brad.
Wait, didn't you do 10? Did you do all 10?
I know, I did 10 through 6, and then I went to him.
Oh,
So,
okay.
hold
That's
on.
all I had.
But there's
I
a
only have
teaser.
6.
There's a teaser, so there's... Okay, Brad, why don't you go ahead and give us your short list there, since you didn't watch as many.
All right. So, we're not going to do a really particular order here. We'll do The Equalizer, since I didn't watch it, but I just knew it was terrible.
The Equalizer.
That was the Denzel one.
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
Yeah,
I
right.
just wanted to include it on the list, just because that sounded terrible.
He already knows his name.
And then X-Men Days of Future Past, which we already talked about, which I thought was bad. And then probably the worst was Spider-Man 2. I thought that movie was god-awful.
I actually could add that to my list, too. Since I don't have 10, I agree.
Mine would get an honorable mention.
Well, and like, what was this? What did Jamie Foxx say after he had become Electro or whatever initially? And he's like, "Time to blow out the candles" or whatever. It was just so cheesy.
Yeah, his like the character himself. Like I was okay with the way that they created the character and the way they made him look. I thought was pretty good, and I actually think he played the character okay. But the writing for him was horrible.
Yeah,
like. I don't have any problems with that character at all, except for the writing. Like, why do you have to stick to this birthday party thing? He's a badass super villain now. Why would he even care to keep throwing out puns about a birthday party?
The ending made my daughter cry.
Did you punch it?
You know, and let me tell you something about the ending too. I knew she was going to die because of all the stuff that I read about prior to seeing the film. But then I saw it, and I'm like. And then, of course, there's the funeral scene. But I'm like, how did she die? I didn't understand that. I actually had to go back and rewind it and put it and watch it frame for frame. Did she hit her head on the ground and he didn't catch her fast enough? Or
No,
what?
he snapped her back.
Yeah, well, that's what I realized afterwards. But, so I was just like, I didn't really like the way that they killed her. But overall, yeah, it just wasn't. I really liked the first one. Shocking. But this one, I just was just like, yeah, it wasn't that great.
And keeping that theme, I didn't think this movie was terrible. I was just a little disappointed. Was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Still haven't seen it yet.
For a movie I'm going with my daughter to see, it was a much better option than a lot of movies. You know, like it was. I was actually really excited because I loved the early '90s, late '80s ones. I thought they were great.
I think that those were so almost hokey that it made them.
But you remember,
much
I was
better
like
that way.
9 or 10.
Yeah.
So I mean, I love.
Have you watched it since then?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
No, they're terrible.
Right.
But
that's kind of like what made
it made it fun. Yeah. And so yeah, it was just I was disappointed. I thought it was more forced than Dumb and Dumber. With like what they were trying to achieve, with making sure they got things in, all the little inside things.
They were trying to force all of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff into it, which I don't think was really necessary.
Like a long Mattel commercial.
But what they really should have done was never put that fucking shredder in there.
Oh, the shredder was bad.
God, it was the worst thing
Again,
ever.
too much metal. Like he's completely covered in metal again, and it's just
like I said
fight
before,
scenes it took away from. I thought like a lot of the fight scenes, I thought it got to be where you couldn't tell exactly what was going on, and it got a little.
Like I said before, they did that because that's the newest Nickelodeon shredder. That's the one that they're playing right now in the Nickelodeon cartoon. That shredder that has like. That's the archetype.
Didn't he have like a bunch of knives?
Yeah, he's got like an arm full of knives. Yeah, they're magnetically linked to his suit, and he can like throw them out and control where they go and all this crap. But that's literally just product placement.
I heard for the next one they're going to add in the pig guy,
Rocksteady and Bebop.
Yeah, and Casey Jones may be there too. And I guess
I like Casey Jones.
Mm-hmm. And I guess there's possibility that that other bad guy.
They're using Krang.
Krang, yeah.
Yeah, they do with the brain.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't see it, and
as long as they don't, I'm just the whole Shredder situation. Like,
I give them a little bit of a pass because it's the first one, and I know they're counting on a series, so they can hopefully learn from their mistakes. But yeah, it wasn't a great.
Yeah, I wasn't too interested in seeing it really. I mean, I was never a big Turtles fan to begin with.
I wasn't as a kid. I had all the toys, and I was obsessed with the cartoons.
But to change their origin, that kind of I was kind of like, no, you can't do that. You can't mess with it.
So my next one was one that again I was just a little disappointed in was Let's Be Cops. I thought that could have been so much funnier than it was, because Damon Wayans Jr. is very funny. He may be funnier than his dad.
Do you see a lot of his dad in some of the facial expressions?
No,
absolutely.
No, he's literally the next
He's like a
version
splitting
of him.
image of him.
Yeah.
And those mannerisms and the way he uses his voice and his timing and everything. Yeah,
I thought there would have been a lot. I thought that movie would have been a lot better too, especially since they're both in New Girl and they're already
the chemistry's already there.
Exactly.
What is his name? What's the
Jake Johnson?
Okay, yeah. I like him. Like I really enjoy him on the New Girl. Like I think that movie could have. I don't know what it was about it. Like I thought parts of it were funny, but it just seemed like it was stretching.
Well, here's what it seemed like. It seemed like it was something that sounded hilarious. Two guys pretend to be cops,
right.
but then really become. One guy gets obsessed and really become. Like it sounded great on paper, and when you put it in a preview, it just looks like it has all these possibilities. But then you're actually thinking about it, like, oh yeah, what do they do now? Like now they're cops.
They were probably high when they wrote it, and it was like one of those. Oh, this would be really.
It was
cool.
funny, and I think it's something I need to rewatch a little more stoned. Because I went with my girlfriend, and I don't think I was as stoned as I probably should have been to watch it. Because it seemed like a stoner comedy. I mean, that's I try to watch every comedy stoned. That's the best way to watch it, and I think I need to go back.
I feel like the fact that I don't get stoned is keeping me from really enjoying.
I'm surprised you enjoyed A Million Ways to Die. I got high. I love that shit. But and then my last movie is Nightcrawler.
Which that surprises me because everybody else that's
loves it
has put it in the top. Has put it in the top 10, or best of.
I just I don't know. I mean, it was one of those things. It was kind of bland.
That's the reporter following around all the stuff.
Basically, it's a guy who's
he wants his big break in TV or something.
Well, yeah, he starts following around, like showing up at crime scenes and stuff like that to try to get footage to sell to news stations, and then he ends up arriving while a crime is in progress, and then it's just not great. I mean, I can't point out anything terrible about it, but I just didn't like it. It was just one of those movies where I got kind of bored.
I think out of everything we've talked about, I want to see horns most out of everything.
Yeah, like this movie I just thought was underwhelming. Like I thought it could have been better with the idea. I thought they kind of.
When I first saw Nightcrawler, I was like, man, they made a Nightcrawler movie?
I was thinking,
I was waiting for a Blue Devil to go poof, go bamf, and
people were mad about that. I saw people that were mad. They're just trying to ride the success of. No, they're not. Like,
when I first saw it, I was like, oh, cool. And then I read what it was like, oh, okay, maybe.
Well,
not.
and it's like, oh, so you're gonna. You're that upset that you were disappointed?
Yeah.
Well, they shouldn't do that. They should think about this one group, select people that's going to be tricked. And maybe just, I would have
read the plot
they
first.
They were thinking about it. They thought about the fact that if they do it, then no one else can use the name.
Someone just showed up to a theater and then bitched.
Oh, yeah. This is not what I thought it was going to be.
It was the shittiest Wolverine I've ever seen.
They sat through the entire 2-hour film and then they complained.
He didn't go bamf once.
I didn't hear him say it. So my bottom 5, like I said, Paranormal Activity, the March ones. The first couple of Paranormal Activities were good. Third one was iffy. This one was just...
Isn't that Cholo Activity? Isn't that like all Mexicans?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I shouldn't say pretty much.
Where do they go? I don't understand this. Like the whole Paranormal Activity thing just... The first one, I was like, okay, yeah. Found movies are okay, but when you start making...
The second one I thought was good, too.
Did you see the third one?
The third one was... I thought that was the third one.
No, this was the fourth one. The third one at the end...
No, this was the fifth one. Right?
No.
Paranormal 4 had the girl, right? The teenage girl.
Those 3.
The boy moved in with the one family, and you find out that... Hold on, I'm really confused now, because I've lost track. Okay, the first one, they're at the house, they're recording them.
Yeah.
Then you find out that... The second one, you find out that it'd been with them the whole time.
Paranormal Activity 4 had the teenage girl.
Okay, so maybe this was the fifth one then. You're right.
Okay, yeah, I remember that.
Okay, so 4.
So what was 3?
The 3 was 3 with the
boy, the little boy, the adopted kid.
I can't remember now.
Well, hang on, I'll find it.
See, this is the problem with Paranormal Activity. They all look the fucking same, and you can't remember what's what.
Except this last one, because it's all...
No, Paranormal 3 was the origin, where they're kids, and it's the 80s.
Okay.
Where the two girls are growing up, the sisters,
Yep.
and she has the
And
friends.
I missed that one completely.